Through majestic forests, alpine valleys and crystal-clear lakes, following the trails of wild animals, in search of rare birds, in places where no man had set a foot before. Precious, magnificent nature, in all its diversity and grandeur, in the documentary series Kazakhstan's Wildlife Sanctuaries. Last weeks of winter in TRANS-ILI-ALATAU mountains were snowy but not too frosty. Those were followed by snowfalls. The foothills of mountains got covered in thick layer of snow. Thawed patches are seen only along the lines of mountain streams. Here, on the northern slope of the TRANS-ILI-ALATAU ridge, the ILE-ALATAU National Park stretches. These areas have diverse and abundant wildlife and vegetation. Wildlife photographers Oleg Bilalov and sanctuaries went to the mountains to find out how wild animals and birds survived the winter. And of course, if they're lucky, to take original shots. In Almaty Gorge, they're hoping to see roe and red deer. They may come out any minute now. See that hollow with some trees in it? They usually come out of there. There is a horizontal line, and here on these snowy trays, from that side, that snowy peak, an avalanche falls down every spring. I've come across roe deer there several times. It walked out right into the shot. There are traces of a snow leopard and lynx as well. Oleg Bilalov is familiar with habits of animals and birds. He is passionate about ornithology and received his deep knowledge of the wildlife as a child. In the 70s, Oleg traveled through almost all of Kazakhstan with his father, a famous cameraman naturalist Vyacheslav Bilalov. He filmed documentaries about the nature of Kazakhstan. On numerous occasions, I have seen the Himalayan vultures here. Bearded vultures have their own route. You know, in the morning they search through the southern slope looking for animals that have died in avalanches or whatever wolves left behind. None of the gorges of the ILE-ALATAU National Park is similar to another. Each plateau and valley has its own unique appearance. Compared to the flatland, the changes of natural zones in mountainous areas are visually sharper and more contrasting. The territory of the park includes low, medium and high mountain landscapes that reflect the tiered structure of the mountains country. Here you may come across some of the rare red-listed bird species. Out of the total of 198 species of birds noted in the park, both settled and migrating, 17 are listed in the Red Book. They are large birds like imperial eagle and booted eagle, rare falcons such as peregrine and saker falcon. There are only few of them, literally 2 or 3 individuals. There are also more specific birds, like bluebird and ibisbill. Every mountain belt has its own characteristic birds. Most birds inhabit fir forests. The fauna of the TRANS-ILI-ALATAU is very diverse due to the location of the ridge at the junction of natural areas. There are species typical to the north, to European and Siberian forests, several kinds of owls, teats and woodpeckers. Tibetan avifauna is present as well. For example, within juniper bushes we may find birds like white-winged grosbeaks, rose finches, white-browed teat warblers and black-breasted ruby-throats. These birds are more typical for southern mountains. In the summer, resident birds settle in the high-altitude zones up to 3,000 meters above sea level, and in winter they descend to the lower belt of mountains. The Museum of the National Park Visitor Center allows you to see and even hear the singing of local birds. This is the whistling of a perky nutcracker bird. And here is how a mysterious bluebird sounds. Its whistling song can be heard from far away. After all, bluebird lives near mountain streams, where subtler sounds could easily be interrupted with the constant noise of water.
В принципе, это не самая редкая птица в наших горах, просто, она овеяна вот этим.
It is not the rarest bird in our mountains. Legends have it that it is a bird of happiness, and so we treat it accordingly. We hope it brings us happiness. The first time my father filmed bluebird was actually here, in this gorge, in a large canyon just above the first hydroelectric power station. It was 1975, and I went with him. Together with ornithologists from Almaty, we searched for a nest for a few days. Then we went higher. The nest was above the stream, on a cliff. A very rare bird, ibis bill, inhabits the territory of ILE-ALATAU National Park. For a long time, ornithologists were not able to locate the nest of this red-listed bird in Kazakhstan. This bird is not shy, but very cautious. It's a big luck if you happen to see it. The footage of Soviet cameraman Vyacheslav Belalov reveals some of the habits of this buzzer-looking red-beaked bird. To these days, Belalov Senior's films are a valuable source. For Oleg, working with his father was a great learning experience, from which he drew his extensive knowledge of the nature of Kazakhstan. Dibek generally doesn't migrate at all. Ibis bill moves slightly down the river. And those birds that migrate here, out of those we've seen today, are black thrush from Siberia and the waxwing. Just now, a flock of goldfinches flew by. Throughout the year, employees of the national park monitor the life of wild animals and birds. Camera traps are placed on several animal tracks. Many inhabitants of the mountains and forests are nocturnal. You may observe interesting behavior of animals and birds in the wild.
Фотоловушку поставил, мне в течение 3 суток пришли.
I've installed a camera trap. In the course of the day, it made shots of hedgehogs, wild boars, deer, or rather a hind with its fawn. Such great shots. It is 100 meters away from the road, where apples fall. Many apple trees were planted during Soviet times, too. So many apple trees here. In the bushes you may still see the barberries. Birds feed on them. Pheasants from the left side. Usually there are many pheasants and partridges on the sunny side. 9 species of mammals currently inhabit the territory of ILE-ALATAU National Park. Park staff conducts annual monitoring of forest well-being and keep track of wildlife in mountain valleys.
Например, в Медылском филиале, где я работаю,
For instance, in Meadow branch, where I work, there are 10 snow leopards, 9 brown bears, 17 Turkestan lynxes. In addition to the endangered species, 6 other hoofed species share the territory. There are red deer, raw deer, wild boar, Siberian ibex. Out of the hunting species, black grouse, pheasants and partridges are considered to be most valuable. These birds are terrestrial and therefore more susceptible to the influence of various factors. Winter is a hard time for many terrestrial birds. Deep snow, heavy rains or snow avalanches can cause their death. So people step in and help grouses, partridges and pheasants. Employees of the national park created favorable conditions for the birds. They feed feathered inhabitants of the forest during the most severe times and take care of wild animals.
Чтобы предотвратить уход животных с привычных мест обитания.
Every year, National Park hold biotech events, which practically concentrate on feeding activities to prevent animals from leaving their usual habitat and maintain their optimum number. For example, in the Meadow branch, we lay out salt licks, about 4 tons of salt and about 9 tons of barley. There are 16 feeding grounds, 54 salt licks, 278 salt brooms and 30 stacks of hay are prepared annually. The amount of feed is regulated. Merle's red deer, for example, get 2 to 5 kilograms of hay per day, as well as boars. Raw deer would get from 1 to 3 kilos of hay.
То же самое на кабана, на косулю от 1 килограмма до 3.
Salture Saparbayev is a hunting expert and biologist by training. He's studying ungulates of national parks and reserves of southern Kazakhstan. A few years ago, he became interested in photography and frequently goes out with camera in his hands, determined to make some shots. He's dreaming of making excellent photos of the snow leopard. He's been seeking for this secretive, very careful inhabitant of snowy peaks for 7 years now.
Ну и в 15-16 годах, буквально вот за этими горами.
We've got a pair of snow leopards just behind these mountains, in the big Almaty Gorge. The camera trap captured them in 2015 and 2016. The area is actually pretty crowded. Many tourists visit the place in summer and winter. We assume that the leopard is not afraid of humans.
Не боится человека, ему все равно.
Salture is very proud of these few shots, though he believes that best images of snow leopard, master of these mountains, are yet to be made.
Я его чувствую. Есть такое у каждого человека внутреннее.
I can sense it. Each person has this inner eye. It says that maybe here, in this scenery, the leopard will come out for just a few seconds. This would be enough for me to capture this intriguing, mysterious, sometimes even mystical beast.
Очень интересного, загадочного, порой даже мистического зверя, снежного барса.
Sometimes this mysterious animal approaches people itself. One such story has even become a local legend.
А здесь ситуация вообще уникальная, потому что такое посещение.
This is a very popular place, visited by many people, and there was a notification that snow leopard came near. Apparently, he was old and sick. He came to the people. When zoologist came, he went down to the river to drink. Unfortunately, he may have stepped on a wobbly stone, there was a rock fall, so he got crushed by stones. What an interesting fate. An environmental education is considered to be the major task of the national park. After all, this specially protected natural area is bordered by multi-million metropolis Almaty. The scenic beauty of the TRANS-ILI-ALATAU mountains, historical monuments and unique objects of nature attract more and more tourists every day. Therefore, the park developed new tourist routes, created recreational areas, picnic areas, gazebos, sheds. In winter, the park staff organizes holidays for school children. Sliding down from the snow hill on a sled, climbing the route on skis, getting some fresh frosty air. What could be better than enjoying the outdoors? National Park collaborates with many local schools. In turn, the students help to plant young seedlings in the spring.
Очень повезло, то, что мы работаем в этой сфере.
We are very fortunate that we are working in this sphere, in the sphere of environmental protection. Someone was lucky enough to see a leopard or even take pictures, as I did. There are people who really want to witness that, but they can't. In fact, the city is 10 kilometers away, and here we are, already on the wild. There is a chance to see raw deer and tag, a mountain goat, fox, lynx, and even leopard. This is undoubtedly a unique opportunity. If we take care of nature, all of these can be preserved. It is important that there is such a national park here, security, protection. The consciousness of people is drawn to the fact that nature must be protected.
Мне кажется, что постепенно все-таки обращается к тому, что природа, она все-таки
The number of people with weapons will diminish every year. There will be more hunters with such devices. I think so too. Soon the sun will hit the earth, the trees will wake up from hibernation, and the forest will awaken and get filled with birds singing. Nature is waiting for the spring. In the meantime, a thick fog spreads among mountains. It is hiding mysterious and cautious inhabitants of the TRANS-ILI-ALATAU. It is time to start preparing for our next expedition along the trails of wild animals to the reserved areas of Kazakhstan.